Hello, my name is Reverend Daniel Lee, and I am the head pastor at Maryland Baptist Church of Love. As a high schooler going into college, I wanted to actually go into physical therapy. And as I was going on that course of physical therapy, I talked to other people that are in the medical field, and they're telling me not a great idea to stay in that field. So I had to think really quick what I wanted to pursue, especially since I was in undergrad. So I was at undergrad at UMBC, and at that time I was teaching Sunday school, and I just really loved that experience of interacting with young people. So I was like, you know what, I wanna pursue being a teacher. And I shared that idea with my mom, and she was like, no way, don't do it. But at that spot, I said, oh, how about counseling? Because one of the things that I love to do is just communicate and talk with young people too, and kind of address problems that they're facing. And she said, that sounds like a good idea. So I was like, okay. So I changed my major to psychology in pursuit of that. And I was trying to find an answer for humanity. It's a big pursuit, but the more I took psychology, the more I discovered that there were no answers. 5 people have the exact same problem of depression, but the answer that they came up with is all different. They call these things case studies. And I was like, this is not helpful. How can I solve anybody's problems if everybody's answer is all different? So I decided I need to go to seminary. And that's when I decided to go. But before then, I started to serve as a assistant pastor at a church called Gethsemane Baptist Church. And it's funny because I became an assistant pastor there first before my father's church. But as I went there, it was exciting. All the kids there were responding to me because I'm a new person, a new pastor, young person. So they were excited. And for the first couple weeks, everybody's paying attention, all eyes are on me. And I was like, wow, I'm making a difference. And about month number 3, kids are starting to fall asleep, dozing off. And I was like, what's wrong with me? Maybe I'm doing something wrong. And I started to have all these questions and doubts of, is this my calling? But during that time, I was saying yes to a lot of things, thinking that that was what God would want. I said yes to being president for the campus ministry called KCM at UMBC. During that time, I was also serving as director of operations for our Maryland Young Adult group amongst the churches. And I was a full-time student, and I was serving 2 churches. I was still serving my father's church, and I was serving at Gethsemane Baptist Church. And it was a lot on my plate. But because there's so much on my plate, I actually kind of burnt out. Trying to be perfect in all of these things is not possible. So one of the Friday nights when we were practicing for our Sunday worship, I was also leading praise. My brother comes up to me and says, hey, Hyung, hey, older brother, if you need help, let me know. And the way he said it just really, turned me off. And I was just like, ugh, I was very angry. And I was angry at myself too, thinking, why don't I have the strength to do this? And I was just lying on the ground, and I said, God, why is this happening to me? Why is it, if it's going to be like this, I don't want this. I'm gonna just drop everything if that's okay with you. If you want to do something different, you have to let me know, God. But it was at that moment God really spoke to me in that honest prayer. And he showed me that I wasn't doing this for him. I thought I was, because I said yes to everything. But honestly, he showed me that I was doing this for me. And I was like, and I thought about it, and I was like, it was about me. I wanted people to react to me, not to God. I talked about God, but I wanted people to react to me. And I was like, oh, I didn't know I was really doing that, but looking back, that's what I was doing. And then I asked God, then what am I supposed to do? And what God told me was, you just need to listen to me. You're not going to be the one to change anybody's heart. I'm going to do that. You just need to listen to what I'm asking you to do. And I was like, that's so easy than what I was trying to do. That's so much simpler. And that Sunday when I was preaching, so many kids were falling asleep, but I was preaching with a happy heart because I knew God was going to change them, not me. And I just need to do what he was calling me to do. And he was calling me to preach. So that's what I did. And God confirmed my calling to continue in that ministry through that prayer, but also continuously after. Yes. When I look at the church today, especially our Korean immigrant churches, there's a difference between our first generation and our second generation. People within our church, and a lot of times people blame each other. The first generation blames the second generation for not listening, and the second generation blames the first generation for not understanding them and the problems that they're going through. And it's a problem that will naturally take place because, different backgrounds. But when I look at the church today, that's not the main problem. The main problem is that we've lost the Father's heart. We've lost the heart of the Father, where it's losing that mindset of a missionary. When a missionary goes to a nation that they're called to, they're able to, they take the time to learn the culture that they're going into and learn the language. And as they learn these things, what's their goal? Their goal is to relay this gospel to the people that are there. That's their goal. And we need to restore that kind of heart, that missionary heart within the church today, where first generation has to learn the second generation culture and language so that they can relay the gospel to the second generation. But it has to go the other way as well, where the second generation has to have the heart to learn the first generation as well. It's not going to be a perfect communication and a perfect, church. We're all broken people, but what matters is that we have a platform to communicate. If there's no platform to communicate, there's no way a church can be one. We really need to restore that heart of the Father, restore that heart of evangelism, because that's what it comes down to. Do we have a heart that wants to share this gospel to generations, and from generations to the nations? And that's what we have to restore in the church today. One of the things that I challenge my congregants, all the church members, is to hold on to the message throughout the week, to change all the main points into prayer topics or prayer requests that you can hold on to throughout the week, because God, he answers his word. And that's so important for us to see for ourselves. As we change our Sunday message into prayer topics, they become ways for us to see evidence to take place. Because what we need today more than anything, especially Christians, are people that have evidence, because Christ is the answer for the world. But if we have no evidence, and if we have nothing to share with the world, we can't save them. We can't help them. So hold on to the word and pray. It has to be a word that is founded in the gospel. And one of the things that I love about our first generation congregation members, our Korean speaking congregants, is they have a prayer meeting. And they pray fervently. I join too. And they pray for the church. They pray for the message that they received that day. They pray for me as well. And they are kind of the powerhouse for our church. And we're trying to start our prayer meeting for our English-speaking members. And this, I'm trying to do it more slowly because a lot of the English members, especially second generation, we carry scars of people telling us what to do, and there's pros and cons to that. But what ends up happening is it becomes something that's not theirs anymore. So going about it very slowly, but nonetheless, we have a plan for that to take place, so that we can truly be people that have evidence, people that we can pray together for the sake of the church and for the sake of the world, so we can connect with what God is wanting to do. 만나요에서 만나요.